For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Shannon de Rehove. I'm with Norton Rose South Africa Director Rohan Isaacs, who is discussing multi-sourcing in big corporations. Thank you very much for meeting with me. First of all, what is multi-sourcing and why should large organizations consider this option?
Shannon, multi-sourcing is outsourcing to various vendors. The concept behind multi-sourcing is that instead of choosing one vendor who is supposed to do everything for your organization, you pick the best of breed in different areas. Large organizations should choose it precisely because they get the best service from a variety of specialists rather than an average service from one large organization that claims to be able to do everything.
The modern outsource environment demands not just cost savings, but strategic benefit to the outsourced organization. Please elaborate on this.
Our firm recently did a global outsource survey, and the most important finding of the survey is that almost 90% of respondents claim that cost savings in this current economic environment is the most important thing to them. One of the things, though, that comes out very strongly behind cost savings is the ability to drive the business forward. South Africa has a skills shortage, and one of the things that outsourcing does is that it gives access to specialized skills that help drive the organization forward.
What are the most important predictors of success in outsourcing?
I think there are a few things. The first thing is to choose the right partner. You've got to find a partner or partners who can deliver the services that they claim to be able to deliver. The second thing is that expectations on both sides have to be matched. It's no good to the customer thinking that they're getting a walls-and-all service, and the outsourced provider or providers thinking that they're only to provide particular services. So expectations have to be the same on both sides, and that means having a good contract in place. And the third thing is that there has to be a proper governance structure in place. The parties have to be in regular touch with each other through formalized structures. That way you head off problems before they start, and the process is managed from the outset up until conclusion in a proper and effective way.
You mentioned that the new model of multi-sourcing has promoted BEE in South Africa. How has this been achieved?
The thing about multi-sourcing is that you don't have to choose one large vendor who can do everything. You can choose a number of vendors. And some of them might supply only a smallish part of the outsourced project. Now, typically, a lot of the BE companies are smaller than some of the established players. On their own, they wouldn't be able to handle an entire outsourced project, but they're more than capable of providing services in the areas where they have specialist expertise. So what some companies have been able to do is instead of outsourcing to a large organization who might then subcontract various parts of it to some of the well-known BE companies, they're now able to contract directly with BE companies to provide those areas of the project.
What are the main considerations to think about when considering multi-sourcing?
Again, it's similar to any outsourced project. The first thing is to get the right partners in, because without those, your project is going to be going nowhere. The second thing is to ensure that you are choosing partners who can work with your organization and with one another. So again, the contractual structure is really important. It also needs to be very clear who's going to be doing what. You don't want there to be overlaps of service and competition between the outsourced partners. All of the outsourced partners need to be moving in the same direction for your benefit as the customer, not competing with one another.
You mentioned that every multi-source arrangement needs a service aggregator to take overall responsibility for the proper delivery of the outsourced services. Please elaborate.
Service aggregator is the person who has an overall view of the services. You might have several different vendors in an outsource arrangement where it's multi-sourced, all doing their own thing. But someone needs to put it all together, because at the end of the day, the business processes or information technology that are outsourced needs to be done in a way that benefits the client, so that you don't have disparate service providers moving in different directions. And that's the job of the service aggregator. Their object also is to ensure that they are the person who's answerable to the client, and that the client has, as one of my clients put it, one throat to choke. You know, what no client should ever be in is a position where they are required to speak to different vendors where something has gone wrong and have a situation where the vendors are finger pointing. They need to deal with one person, and that's the service aggregator.
Is that person also possibly an outsourced person?
Sometimes it is. Occasionally clients like to take on the role of service aggregator themselves. I personally don't always think that that's a successful model, because the client is not viewing things objectively, and it's not really going to lead to an absence of finger pointing. I prefer the model where it's possible that the client hires an outside service aggregator who then takes overall responsibility and is answerable to the client.
Thank you very much for your insight.
My pleasure.
That was Norton Rose South Africa Director Rohan Isaacs discussing multi-sourcing in big corporations.